schedule for this workshop is, or this work session is 1 o'clock. It's Tuesday, February the 6th. We're in the Board of Supervisors hearing room, Melody Lane, Bisbee. Pursuant to ARS 38-431.02H, the public will have physical access to the meeting place 15 minutes ahead of the meeting, and any item on this agenda is open for discussion. I will begin with the roll call. District 1.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Crosby is here.
Thank you. District 2, Supervisor English is present. District 3.
Supervisor Judd is here.
We have a complete board for the work session. Members of the public may also attend this meeting by Microsoft Teams computer or mobile app, or by phone by calling 602-609-7513 or 888-680-6714, conference ID 526-263-538#. If you have trouble accessing this meeting remotely, call 520-432-9200 for directions. Work sessions are a time for the staff to inform and discuss agenda items with the Board of Supervisors, and public comments will not be taken. As always in our work sessions, introductions are most appropriate, especially for the record, when you begin to speak. If you'll give us your name and title so that we have a complete record of what's happening. Today we want to talk about the Public Works Department and the highways work plan, solid waste, and light and heavy fleet. So we'll start with you, Jason.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jason Fazio. I'm the Director for Public Works, Cochise County. We're going to talk about what we have kind of in the work plan for the third quarter 2024. There's not a whole lot going on other than our maintenance grading and right-of-way mowing. We have some winter projects that we've been working on. Melody Lane 88 parking out here. We're kind of late on this third quarter. We started in the beginning of the third quarter on that, and we got that finished. Davis Road RPMs. We're working on hot mix at the Bisbee Transfer Station to fix the entranceway on that. And we're going to do some chip seal prep in a lot of these areas. One of them being Mountain Ranch, Airport, and Dark Sky up in Bisbee, or up in Benson, along with Cascabel. We have some more down in McNeil Townsite, Frontier, and Price Ranch Road. Over in Bisbee or Bowie, we have Apache Pass. We're prepping that for chip seal, and we're also working on a head wall that was deteriorating from the monsoon the year before last. It got pretty tore up. We're also prepping Bell Ranch Road for some chip seal, although engineering is working with me on that to see if we're actually going to go forward with chip sealing that. But we're going to go ahead and prep it just in case we decide we want to make that one go.
Is that the Bell Ranch by Elfrida or the one up by the dairy?
It's by the dairy. So the roads up there are suffering pretty bad. They're getting some pretty heavy truck traffic, and so we're doing what we can to maintain those roads. We're also working together, Jackie and I, engineering on the 5-year work plan, along with Joe, our leadership. We were going to discuss a little bit about the blading schedule. I don't want to get too deep into that other than just to let you know that we're still blading primitive twice a year and that we're doing all the other roads pretty much every 9 to 12 weeks. Okay. The future projects that engineering and I are working on together are culvert slurries. There's some watershed things that we're working on, and also guardrails around the county. Touch on fleet.
Before you go to fleet, let me ask you about the ad drop.
Sure.
Are we any further along in trying to decide if there's criteria that a board could use in order to add or drop roads?
So basically, engineering and I, along with Joe, have been working on a project that will answer all of that here, hopefully, in the near future.
Okay. Because we need to have criteria so that it doesn't seem like it's just a board decision without a basis.
Right. And most everything's in black and white. We're just trying to put together something so we have basically something we can share with the public.
Okay.
And then you guys can decide how you want to do that.
Thank you.
Was there any other questions on highways?
Any of you have questions that you want to ask before we move on to fleet?
Not
No.
at this time, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Our fleet updates are, we had a bunch of vehicles on order. They were all Tahoes. GM completely shut down their Tahoes for sheriff's departments. They've given us an option for trucks, and the sheriff's department's okay with that. So we've kind of shifted gears, and we had, I think, 13-ish vehicles ordered for the sheriff's department that were Tahoes, and those are going to be trucks now, Silverados. We had Fred ordered a replacement grader for highways, a grinder for asphalt, a melter for RPMs, and then a loader for solid waste in Benson. So those are some of the purchases that we've done in fleet over the last quarter, trying to get that money that we said we would spend on that equipment spent. Solid waste update, cell 5, as you guys know, it's completed with that last change order of the PO. We were able to get that completely finalized. We paid the last invoice on it, as far as I know, last week. Solid waste update on the free dump cards. Free dump cards are mailed, and they are already being utilized. On the next work session, we'll dive into what that's doing to our revenues and our expenses. It's kind of early to tell that right now. The other stuff I was going to touch on is employees' wage increases. We got the market rates all done. That's also something that I'd like to touch base on at the next work session, to basically see how solid waste and highways and fleet are doing as far as with the increased wages to the budget, what the impact is of that, especially in solid waste because it's an enterprise fund. We started forecasting all the budgets in all 4 of the divisions. I'm working with the business managers to get that all squared away on time. Hopefully we're going to turn in a pre-budget, or they're going to turn in pre-budget to me when I work with them, and then I'll get with Joe here and work through that. Pretty much fully staffed. The one thing I wanted to talk about here was in highways, we've reduced our staff a little bit because we're not out there doing a bunch of construction work anymore. We're doing mostly maintenance. And so with that, we have basically enough guys to do chip seal and stuff in the summertime, and we're almost overly staffed in the winters. We have these winter projects that I've kind of outlined on this Gantt chart. So we're keeping the guys busy, but we want to be careful not to overstaff. So in the wintertime, we don't have a bunch of guys standing around. So I think we're pretty solid where we're at. We have a bunch of vacancies, but we don't plan on filling those right now. We kind of want to roll for a year and just kind of see how that looks. Did anybody have any questions on any of the fleet or solid waste updates?
Any questions, board members?
Not at this time, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing we wanted to talk about was that light fleet, we have a problem with getting vehicles upfitted. And so we had a vacancy in light fleet, and we went ahead and filled that with a mechanic, and we're going to be using that person to do upfits for our regular replacement vehicles for the sheriff's department, for facilities, and whoever else. So these vehicles aren't sitting at an upfitters for 6 months.
So you've been doing that with an outside contractor?
Yeah, we've had an outside contractor with, I want to say they've had half a dozen of our vehicles, and they literally sit there for 4 to 6 months before we get any of them back. So we went up and we pulled several of those vehicles back. We bought all the materials for the upfits. We have enough upfits for 7 vehicles currently. So Fred has brought those vehicles back in, acquired all the stuff for the 7 upfits, and our new mechanic started today, technically. So we started upfitting today.
And this person had experience with that?
Yeah, all of our mechanics have experience with upfits. So each one of them can be assigned a work order to do an upfit. But with this additional person, we won't fall behind on our regular maintenance that we do to the fleet.
Good.
So he won't specifically be doing upfits, but he'll take some of that workload to where we can do our regular maintenance and not fall behind and do upfits.
Okay, sounds good.
Fleet has, through the help of Joe here, we actually have a liaison with the CCSO. It's John Jurdy. And so we're working through that one person now, so the whole sheriff's department, to try to get stuff done for the sheriff's department. So it's really helped Fleet a lot. Hopefully we can continue to roll that way. It's been a real good system so far. We used to get bombarded by deputies asking for stuff, and no fault of theirs, but it was just overwhelming for Fred. So we got the liaison now that all runs through.
Madam Chair, I had a question, Supervisor
ahead.
Crosby. I was wondering, where was the shop for upfits? Was it in the county, or was it the city of Sierra Vista that was taking too long for us?
So the contracts that we have currently are in Tucson and Phoenix. One of the shops, if I'm not mistaken, is considering opening a facility down in Sierra Vista, but it has not been opened yet.
Okay, thank you very much. I was just wondering where they were.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay. Heavy fleet in highways, and this is just to kind of touch base where we were. We actually ordered 2 boot trucks 2 years ago. These trucks are still on order. Fred just keeps renewing the PO. We're hoping that these trucks are finally being built. We actually have build dates on those. So hopefully we'll start to see some vehicles being produced. One of the main problems that we have in Fleet right now is that we have the money to buy equipment, trucks, cars, and everything else, but nobody's really producing these things. So we have all the money in the world. We're just not being able to produce, get them. We are looking at some options about buying some used stuff at some point if that becomes an issue. I think that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for us.
I just want to say that I think that it helps. It's not real specific, like where they're working on whatever particular road, but it is good to know the general area and the general maintenance or whatever is going on with that report each week. So I think it's helpful. Any of the board members have any comments about that?
My comment would be that my general preference is for private enterprise when it's possible, and it is disappointing when that doesn't work out. So just keep up the good work, and thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Judd, did you say something?
No, I unmuted, but there's talking in here, but I'm okay with what was said. I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then I guess we have no further comments on that. You are going to talk about the work plan, and you give this to us each time. And how is that working for you? Is that helpful to your department also to see where things are mapped out?
Yes, it's very helpful to us as far as department-wide. The superintendent and the director work pretty close together, so they know exactly what's happening every single day. But it's good for all of our business managers and all of the lower level employees to kind of know where we're at, so they know how to find us, things like that. Not only that, but this helps us keep track of what projects were done and when, so that we can run reports and things like that. And, in the future, we can look back and say, oh, we chip sealed a road at this time this year and so forth, and we can run a report easier.
Well, it keeps things from falling through the cracks.
Yes.
From other things being real important, and then you forget about it. But if it's on here, then it's going to keep reminding you. So I think it's a good thing.
The state auditor recently asked us for some quarterly work plans that were done by myself about a year ago, and we pulled these out and showed them to them, and they thought they were wonderful. They were good with it too.
Good. Rich, anything to add?
I do not. Keep doing the great work that you do.
I'm sure the county attorney is excited because you haven't had any court dates or anything. So.
No, our superintendents are doing really good, holding things together. At some point, I'll probably look for replacing my old position, the superintendent of highways. Fred's doing a really good job right now as interim. Robert's kind of holding some of the fort down too. But they're appreciative, and they really like what they're doing right now. So I don't want to disrupt that. Fred would like to run with this until July, monsoon season, and kind of learn everything. So he'll be in there pretty much an entire year. And this is just good cross training, I figure. So we're going to just continue on with it.
Sounds good. Well, when possible, it's always good to have a plan of who's going to take over when anyone leaves. And people leave for all different kinds of reasons. So that's always great. Anything else, Rich?
I have nothing further.
Well, then before we let this meeting go, I need to say the next meeting today is at 2 p.m. in our Board of Supervisors hearing room, a work session regarding Engineering and Natural Resources Department. And that's 45 minutes from now.
Yes.
You sure you don't want to talk longer?
And if you want, I'm here to answer.
Oh, well, if there's no further questions, then this work session is adjourned and we'll be back here at 2 o'clock. So thank you all.